Hats off to entrepreneurs. You bring value to our community by creating jobs and building wealth. Aspire Enterprise of Florida is your premier one-stop resource for strategic business coaching, business trainings, and business services. Our elite team of business professionals have over 30 years of expertise to serve small business owners, not-for-profit organizations, and individuals. Aspire Enterprise, where your needs are our priority.
Reputation is based on what others think or believe about you. Our character is who we truly are and the moral fiber that guide us. Our city has a reputation and we need to elevate to the higher standard. I decided to run for mayor to see the city thrive. Through its potential, together we can make it a better community. I am promoting sustainable growth in infrastructure and development in our beautiful city. By promoting and encouraging investors and corporations to ultimately develop our vast area of open land to increase our tax revenue, to develop, expand and beautify our bayfront area, downtown Palm Bay, to encourage investors to come in and increase our tax revenue. This increased revenue funding will provide job opportunities for the workforce in Palm Bay, enforce public safety by having a better budget for our police and fire department, modern parks, and provide better lighting for the youth in recreational areas, promote formal restaurant and nightlife to encourage residents of Palm Bay and visitors to spend more time in our city, provide better roads for rural Palm Bay and maintain current roads, provide new street lights for safety and peace of mind, to protect the health and welfare of our citizens and protect the environment. In these uncertain times, leading requires building alliances while at the same time diminishing conflict. Leaders create conditions where people can choose new opportunities and new options. We can't make people change, but we can create an environment where they choose to. If elected mayor, I would like to donate my salary to the city budget for worthy causes. Our community needs an honest voice for the people to trust. I am Alfred Ramsey Agari, and I am running for mayor of the city of Palm Bay.
We need judges who work hard, have experience, integrity, and proven service to our community. Donna Gerner was born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, and got through college and law school at the University of Florida with scholarships and part-time jobs. Donna chose to make our community her home and began serving us in 1995 when she joined the state attorney's office prosecuting crimes for more than a decade, helping to keep our families and our community safe. Donna Gerner opened her own office in Altamont Springs in 2007 where she fought for people just like you in civil and criminal cases. She helped families keep their homes during the 2008 foreclosure crisis and has recovered more than $250,000 for families in personal injury cases. She has defended criminal cases and represented juveniles. She was also a certified family mediator and knows how to address divorces, child custody, child support, time sharing, and alimony issues. Donna Gerner has tried hundreds of cases before judges and juries across Central Florida and has been awarded for her outstanding trial skills. She is board certified in criminal trial law and is one of only 443 attorneys in the state of Florida who hold this distinction. This vast experience places Donna Gerner in the unique position of having litigated a wide array of legal issues on both sides of the courtroom. She knows how to balance the law on an individual basis with no bias or assumptions. She has also been a volunteer for Teen Court and has been recognized for her pro bono service to our community. Donna Gerner believes in equal justice under the law, and her service to our community over the last 24 years proves it. Donna Gerner has the qualities and experience to be our next circuit court judge.
Hi, my name's Donna Gerner, and I approve this message.
Hi, Palm Bay. I'm Rob Medina, your candidate for mayor. With your support, when elected, we will immediately move forward to take the necessary actions to restore transparency, to restore accountability, responsibility, and the respect of our beloved city. It's evident through recent audit findings and oversights meeting in Tallahassee that our city has engaged in financial decisions that clearly have put our citizens and our financial stability at risk. The headlines of our city once promoted a city that cares, finalists for a City of the Year, and a community with a great future. Now, today, the headlines promote our city as one with escalating crime, an interchange to nowhere, mismanagement, state-imposed audits, and playgrounds closing due to equipment being unsafe. We must stop this downward spiral of our once financial secured, beautiful community. We drive through flooded roads, potholes, and traffic jams. I pledge to you as your next mayor, I will shine light on these past budgets along with the poor decisions made so we can get the answers our citizens deserve and our state leaders demand. I encourage a forensic audit of all our city operations so we can bring all these things to light. This process will not be easy, but our future and that of our children depend on each and every one of us, ensuring accountability, ensuring professionalism, immediately replacing finger pointing, mismanagement, the rubber stamp process that brought this audit upon us. There are many serious questions. The business and residents of our cities deserve a government that they can trust and believe in. It is important to address these issues head on, for they've made a target of ridicule and skepticism from our surrounding neighbors and our very own residents. This will require strong leadership, transparent and sensible policy decisions, and constant commitment to ethical conduct. As mayor, my first goal will be to restore trust in our government. Government for the people, by the people. This is truly an opportunity for leadership by example. And as your mayor, I pledge to you that if I vote to approve a contract with a company to do business with our city, I will prohibit myself from receiving any future campaign funds from that said company. And I will encourage our council members to do the same. I believe as elected officials, we're held to a higher standard. The citizens of Palm Bay will be my only priority. We will address the many concerns of the finding of the state audit and encourage the open participation of our residents to provide oversight in our budget process. Hashtag the public trust. For a better Palm Bay, elect Rob Medina. May God bless you. May God continue to bless this great city we call Palm Bay. Hoorah! Hoorah!
Good evening, Palm Bay, and welcome to another edition of Palm Bay Live. And with me tonight is my main man, Pete Filiberto. Welcome to the live, sir. And how you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you okay. You're coming in loud and clear, and welcome to Palm Bay Live. And so we're going to get this interview started. And hello, everyone. And tonight we have a two-prong approach. We have an interview with Mr. Pete Filiberto, and then at 9 o'clock, we're going to have Mr. Alan Borowski. He's going to be with us at 9. So I hope you stay up, drink some coffee, and stay up with me tonight because it's going to be a long night. And so I'm going to get right into the interview. And of course, we will entertain questions from our audience as they come in. So Mr. Filiberto, welcome again, and congratulations on winning the latest straw poll with the Republican committee. And please introduce yourself to the public so they can know who you are and why you're running for seat 2 city council.
Yes, sir. Kevin, thank you for having me. I support everything you're doing here. My name is Pete Filiberto. I'm running for Palm Bay City Council seat number 2.
Mm.
Basically, what it comes down to is that the city has had some misfortunes in their past, and I'm here to bring an honest name to the city.
Okay. Hold on one second. We having a delay with your mic or something. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you 5 by 5, sir. I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. There's a delay with your mic, so I'm going to have to just play along with it. Let's see. The questions are coming in already. So let me take the first one, and we're gonna. How do you feel about an amendment to our city charter by increasing council to 7?
By increasing council to 7, I'm not a fan of amending the city charter by any means. Reason being, usually when you open the books to the city charter, other things will get changed as well. I like to keep the council as is. Same with our current government structure with the city of Palm Bay.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Let's talk about corruption for a second, and let me take this off the screen. My first line of question is to you is that you feel strongly about complete transparency between Palm Bay and its residents. Given the level of corruption and miscommunication that currently takes place, how do you plan on addressing this?
Well, sir, the one thing that happens is issues usually change, agenda items change, character does not change. My family's been in this in Palm Bay for over 40 years. I am a legacy candidate. I've been behind that dais since I was a little kid, back when Mayor Filiberto was there. So I've absorbed what he was doing. He faced the same problems with roads, ended up paving all the roads west of Babcock Street, and I intend to do the same. There was no corruption then, and when I get into office, there will be no corruption from me either. I believe in complete transparency.
Okay, so what's your plan of action? How will you end corruption?
Well, sir, I'm looking at moving Palm Bay forward. There are those on council, and I support them 100%, who want to look into Palm Bay's past. I intend to move Palm Bay forward, and whatever happened in the past happened. Mm-hmm. However, if another councilman wants to bring that issue up, I will happily support it. But my plan is to bring Palm Bay into the 21st century and move past these corruptions,
okay,
or misfortunes or misdeeds.
The city received a lot of criticism over the resignation of the former city manager. Many believe that they violated sunshine laws. What would you do differently to ensure transparent and compliant process and procedures within City Hall?
Well, that should have been brought up publicly. Whoever wanted to bring it up, have a public discussion in front of all of council. It was unfortunate that our city manager she was very popular. Not sure if she was exactly qualified, but she was popular. I would like to retain her for the city of Palm Bay at a lower capacity. However, what happened, and we need to move forward.
Okay. During my research, I discovered that your father was charged with tax evasion. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And more recently on drug charges?
Drug charges?
Yes. Is that true?
No, he was not charged with any drug charges, no.
Okay. All right. So do you support, let me move off from that line of questioning then, because maybe I got my facts wrong. So let me go to something else. I see some questions coming up on the screen, so I'm going to take those first before I go to the next level of questioning. This one is coming from Mr. Randy Wickens. He asked, I would like to ask why Mr. Filiberto, why when I asked him about corruption several weeks ago, he said intentionally only has gotten his news about corruption from the news and did not investigate on his own or even read the FBI reports.
As I told Randy, I don't want to look into Palm Bay's past. There's other people on council who are willing to look into Palm Bay's past. Mm-hmm. We will get dragged down. With my new candidacy, I want to bring Palm Bay forward. I don't want to be dragged down by Palm Bay's past in the next 4 years. I want to bring Palm Bay forward and talk about the issues at hand. issues we need to resolve. If another council member wants to bring up the corruption charges or any FDLE reports, I will happily support it. However, that is not my objective. My objective is to move Palm Bay forward.
Okay. I saw a comment here that says, Peter, your dad, Frank, was an amazing mayor and brought a lot of great ideas to Palm Bay. Will you follow some of his ideas and expand on it? I understand you are his own person, but will you think you are like him? Do you think you're like him? I think that's what they asked.
I am my father's son. My
Uh-huh.
father was a wonderful man. He did many things as mayor for Palm Bay and as a doctor as well. Great achievements he brought to the city, both professionally and in the council chambers. He took down GDC. He brought the utility department into Palm Bay's hands, which previously was in GDC's hands, and he paved all the roads west of Babcock.
Okay.
I plan to bring those same attributes to council. Yes.
Okay. All right. There's a comment from Mr. Burns. Now that roads are getting done, what do you think will be the biggest project of your tenure?
I don't believe roads are completely getting done. I know there's the road bond program out there, but I do have a plan to get every road paved in Palm Bay within 15 to 20 years. I'm not going to elaborate on that plan because what's been happening recently is that I come up with a plan, post it on the website, example, the RFP, American Dream, etc., and then other candidates, copycat candidates, play on that and then come up with, say it's their idea. So I do have a plan, though, to pave every single road in Palm Bay within 15 to 20 years.
Let's ask you about RFP. I have a question.
Yes,
I have 3 questions on RFP for you. So you're committed to building local economy and have been critical of the city for awarding RFPs to people outside of the local community, right?
Yes, sir.
Before, okay. As a newly appointed member of the Palm Bay Bayfront Community Redevelopment, how are you addressing this issue? That's the first question.
Well, answering that first question, the next meeting is this Thursday, tomorrow, as a matter of fact. That was my second meeting for the Bayfront Redevelopment Agency. For the first meeting, I addressed the issue. They put a bid out for real estate services. Mm-hmm. 2 people from Brevard County applied for the bid, and they ended up giving it to somebody from Pompano Beach. I expressed my concern during that meeting, and if it continues to happen, I'll express my concern every time. I want local businesses involved within the city of Palm Bay. Somebody from Pompano Beach does not know what's going on in Palm Bay. And that was their argument. Their argument was, literally, they scored a 50 out of 50 for Palm Bay knowledge. However, it was worded in the scoring criteria. How can somebody from Pompano Beach know more than a Palm Bay resident or a Palm Bay real estate broker?
Okay, I got you. How will you support local businesses through the application process and promote them within the community? That's the second phase question.
That starts off with the scoring criteria. Right now, the scoring criteria is done by city staff. I would like some overlook on that, whether it's me as a council member or a resident to be involved in that process. Personally, I'd like it to be me since I would be the elected official. However, I would like to be involved in the scoring criteria on every single bid that comes through our city.
Okay. You do not believe that the scoring criteria, while we just touched on that, provides any incentives to find qualified residents. What criteria are you referring to, and how will you change the process to be more incentive for the local business?
I do not have the scoring criteria in front of me, but it's about 5 or 6 different qualifications there. One's like technical response, and a few other ones as well. Knowledge of the bid itself. And then when I was looking down, the last item there was local preference. Each one was scored like 50 points, 50 points, maybe 30 points. Then on the last line for local preference, you know how many points it was? 5 points. Okay. They only get 5 points in favorability if they're a local business. That's not right.
All right. Before I move on, let me take some questions from the audience.
Yes, sir.
This is probably just a comment. I'm not sure. Near US 1 East Palm Bay is becoming derelict. What about giving small business a chance to fill the empty spots and keep the city looking better?
I agree 100%. And yeah, I mean, there used to be a Winn-Dixie there. All those buildings are now gone. It's ripe for new development. I'd like to see a couple restaurants there, maybe even a little nightlife. I would like to see it considered a downtown. I wouldn't call it downtown. I'd still keep it bayfront, but it could be a downtown atmosphere. Yes.
Okay.
It has the potential. It's right on the river there and everything. It's a beautiful, beautiful location.
Okay. All right, Mr. Burns, I have some questions on the compound too. You guys are preempting me tonight, but let's go ahead and take it. What is your vision for the compound?
I actually looked into it recently. The compound's privately owned, so whatever they think of it, I believe the people that own it their name is Atlantic Groves. Don't quote me on that, but last I checked, it was privately owned, and that was a couple weeks ago. Whatever they want to do with it, they may, but as of right now, the compound's out there.
All right. All right. Let's talk about infrastructure. I see Ms. Lorraine made a comment that the compound is dangerous. And I did mention that into the last interview that I had with Ms. Wright. And we talked about every weekend, I live right near the compound. And it's literally every weekend I'm seeing, almost every weekend, let's put it that way, you see flights coming out of there, helicopters, picking up, landing, picking up folks. And it's so, as a city, what can we do to better educate our residents about safety and all that different mechanisms to make sure they keep safe out there?
Well, they patrol out there. I guess more patrol vehicles out there. However, residents that go out there, they go out there at their own risk. And in all honesty, I go out there from time to time. I ride four-wheelers. I ride my motorcycle. And when you're out there, you're at your own risk. So, I'm sorry to tell you that.
Okay. All right. You guys are jumping ahead of me tonight, but that's okay. I will take them. Do you think we should keep or sell the pool? And we're talking about the aquatic pool over by the college there. What are your thoughts on that whole debacle? Do you think we should keep taking it over from the county to begin with?
Just going with the question at the hand. I used to work beach patrol down there in my old municipality, and we had a pool there, and the pool was always a drain economy on the budget. And basically what we were able to do is that we were able to make it free for Palm Bay residents, and we were able to charge a hefty fine if those residents wanted to bring an outsider, say a friend from Melbourne or a friend from Grant Park area. We could possibly do that. I know our pool is getting resurfaced, and it's a long time coming, and we'll see what happens from there. That would be an issue for council to solve. Absolutely. And I'm open to whatever. If council decide to sell it, I'd like to hear their arguments on that. But we don't have any pool in Palm Bay besides that pool right there. And I've been there a couple times. I know swim teams meet there. High school sports are usually events or function there. So I'd like to retain it.
Okay. Fair answer. Okay. Any other questions from the audience that I missed? Let me scroll up here a little bit. I know there was lots of questions coming in really fast. And I think I pretty much got them all before I go along. Okay, let's move to infrastructure. Infrastructure. You said on your website that you will maximize resources and ability to deploy them for both new infrastructure and maintenance. I have a three-pronged question for you. Are you in favor of the annual budgeted fund for ever growing infrastructure? And B, what would you consider a reasonable annual budgeted amount? And C, which projects will you prioritize if elected?
Just go with what my platform states. I feel the city hires employees, and they drive around the city, and they're looking for problems. They're looking for potholes. They're looking for what ditch needs to be trenched out. They're looking for branches in the power lines. Instead of having city employees do that, I would like to put a portal on the website and have residents report it. So that way we save money on vehicles, we save money on gas, and we save money on employees. Those employees can be doing other things besides searching for Palm Bay's problems. Let's put that in the power of the residents. The budget basically would stay the same with the portal. And honestly, we probably need to be saving money when it comes down to the personnel and the maintenance fees and the gas fees.
Okay. All right. With the current residential and developmental boom occurring in Palm Bay, how do you propose we'll keep up with the momentum increase in local traffic and or less than capable roadways, which are unable to handle even the current congestion? So what are your plans for the roads?
Like I said, I have a plan that will pave every single road in Palm Bay within 15 to 20 years. I'm not going to elaborate on that plan just yet. However, I already see mistakes happening. I mean, how long is it taking for the interchange to be finished? Melbourne finished their interchange, and they started after us. And then St. John's Heritage Parkway out there west, it's only 2 lane. Why is it only 2 lane? It should be 4 lane. Let's prepare for the future of all that traffic. And Palm Bay is not moving in that direction, and I want to turn that around.
Okay. Road maintenance fund. What's your feeling on that? I mean, how road maintenance fund?
Oh, the road maintenance fund.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I like it. I'm in agreement with it, and I think it's necessary. I would like to keep the road maintenance fund, and the road maintenance fund is actually part of my plan for roads in general.
Okay. Let's go to the audience for some questions. Let's see. Let's start with Miss Vesta Burns. She asks, should we have a grants team who could find funds for things such as body cams and sidewalks and such?
Absolutely. I'm a huge believer in grants. A lot of cities do grants. And recently, since it's been brought up, I see Palm Bay starting to apply for some grants. They've applied for one recently for the Turkey Creek rejuvenation over there. And I believe Palm Bay is getting the message. Let's start paying for things with grants, if grants are available. I believe they do have a grant team over there. Maybe when I say team, I mean 1 or 2 people. However, that should be all it takes. I mean, if 1 or 2 people working 8 hours a day, they should be able to find any grant that's out there.
Okay. Mr. Wickens, could you ask directly about the body cam issue? Well, okay. You guys are jumping me tonight, but that's fine. I would like to hear his opinion on that.
The body cam issue, I support it 100%, but I don't know if it's for Palm Bay right now. There's other issues in Palm Bay that need priority because body cams are going to cost a lot of money, and I would like to spend that money elsewhere. My alternative, and I spoke to Chief Moy about this and other chiefs as well, is to go to the old school method and use 2-man units. If you have a problem child cop out there, just like any employer, if I'm a problem child, I'm gonna be paired with somebody else who's good. So I feel that could solve the problem and at least help us until we can afford body cams.
Okay, I might come back to that question here in a second.
Yes, sir.
I was looking for my line of questioning in regards to this. I have some more questions about that, I believe. So hold on 1 second. Let me take some more questions from the audience. Would you consider hiring a person to pursue available grants that are available to Palm Bay?
Palm Bay already has that. I can see if they're doing their job or not. Like I said, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. They should be looking for every grant that's out there.
Okay, Miss Karen, let's go to you. Let's see, where's that question? She's opining on the road situation. You can report it, potholes, etc. meaning residents, but do I want to save money? I think that's more like of a comment. Let's see. Any more? Ms. Renee is saying, should city council members hold active city contracts? And that's a good question. I asked a mayoral candidate recently that exact question, but I don't think I got a fair answer. So if you are employed with the city, or if you're holding a position with the city, should you guys be having contracts or holding contracts? What are your thoughts on that?
Can you elaborate on the question, sir? Are you asking if city employees should be involved in pursuing contracts?
Correct. If I have a business and I'm employed by the city and I went out and, submit a bid, is that fair game?
No, that's a conflict of interest. That is not fair game. And I think there's laws against that. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you think the residents should vote in the city manager?
No, I do not. You elect councilmen, and you trust their judgment, their leadership, to select a capable, confident, willing, able city manager.
Okay. This question says the police rely heavily on COC for mental health calls and they are overrun. How can we get a COC ASAP in Palm Bay?
Repeat the question. Sorry, I'm trying to read it here.
Yeah, the police rely heavily on COC for mental health calls and they are overrun. How can we get a COC ASAP in Palm Bay?
The COC, Circles of Care, I'm assuming. I know there's one in Melbourne. It's right there near the border of Palm Bay, I believe. What usually happens if someone is acting mentally unstable, they will be Baker acted and they will be sent to the COC. Do we need one for Palm Bay? This is the first I've heard of it. I'll explore the issue, but I know there's one right there near the border. I believe it's on Derry Road. I'm not exactly sure though.
Yeah, probably worth exploring. We're a growing city, so issues do come up. All right, let's see. So have you a plan to pave every road in Palm Bay, but will only get that plan if elected? What if you are not elected? Will you share your plan with the rest of the city?
I've shared a lot of my plans with the rest of the city. I'm the only candidate with plans. So far, every candidate in my race I've seen has bullet points, which, I'm tired of the one providing all the plans. I provide you with a lot of plans. I tell you I have a 15 to 20-year plan to pave all of our roads. Elect me.
Okay, sir. Let's see. Let me just make sure we're not missing any more questions. And I'm thankful for you guys' questions. Let's see. This one says, being the largest city in Brevard by far, do you think Palm Bay should be divided up?
Absolutely not. And I'm actually against that. There was maybe 2 months ago where the city council passed a CDD, a community development district.
Mm-hmm.
And I was strongly opposed to it. Main reason, Vieira is a CDD, a community development district. That I believe the lot size was about 60 acres. They wanted to get to 60 acres CDD first, and then they said they were going to buy the surrounding 250 acres. I am strongly in disagreement on that. That should be more of an HOA, and I would not divide up Palm Bay. I do know that we have the four quadrants there, and that satisfies.
Okay, sir. Let's see, any more questions from the audience before we keep going? And yeah, so we talked about, the questions was asked about the city manager, if the public should be hiring the city manager. Question to you. Do you believe in a strong mayor form of a government? What are your thoughts on that? I
do not believe in a strong mayor form of government. If the right council is elected, I know there's some good favorites out there. The straw polls have suggested, and that's nothing against the mayor candidate. However, my worry is if an unqualified mayor gets elected in a strong mayor government, this city will go downhill fast. I am not in favor of a strong mayor government whatsoever. A city council or a city manager you can fire and rehire. A mayor you cannot. You have to wait it out for 4 years.
Do you find favor with the charter the way it is right now, or do you sense that we need to change some things in the charter?
One candidate did bring up in regards to the charter about the police. There was some verbiage in there about Palm Bay must have a police department. It doesn't elaborate on how many or how how much they should be paid or what have you. But I'm not in favor of opening the charter for anything, because usually when you open the charter, other things get added, and that's a concern. And it happened previously in the previous town I was in. They opened up the books for the charter, and next thing you know, our charter was no longer the same charter. That was in the town of Surfside.
Okay. All right. There's a question from Mr. Kevin Chancellor. He asked, how do you plan on fixing the ongoing increase in debt service incurred by the pensions we have to provide increasing infrastructure needs?
Let me read the question. Give me a second. My infrastructure plan will handle that. I feel, we put the resources on the residents. We have the residents report instead of the city reporting. I believe that answers this question. If not, please rephrase, Kevin, if you don't mind. Mr. Chancellor.
Yeah. Mr. Chancellor, you have an option to rephrase your question so that he can best understand what you're asking, I guess. What is a fair millage rate? Ms. Karen asked.
Well, the millage rate back in the late 80s was right around 5%. Right now, our millage rate is not fair whatsoever. We were paying the second highest millage rate behind Palm Shores. A fair millage rate around here, I feel, I don't want to get into too many numbers, but let's settle at 6.5. And that's just starting off. I always achieve to get a lower millage rate, but I would like to see if Palm Bay was at 6.5 within the next 4 years, I would be happy with that.
Okay. Thanks for the answer. This is another question from Mr. Burns. Our grass is overgrown, looks awful, and it's hard to commute through, especially if trying to walk to a bus stop. Do you know what our current mow schedule looks like, and how would you improve mowing throughout the city?
Yeah, that's the city manager's job. I know they recently just bought a whole bunch of mowers. We have received a lot of rain recently. That could be for the tall grass. And also the rain could be what's delaying Public Works from mowing that grass. However, that would be a discussion for the Public Works Director and the city manager.
Okay. So, Mr. Filiberto, let me ask you, and I was asking all the quick candidates this, and I have a reason to. Have you met with all the department heads of the city while running? Have you sat down with a city manager and see what their needs are?
I've only met with department heads, the ones who show themselves to the public. Let's just say that. I met with the fire chief. I've known the fire chief for a while. I've met with the police chief. I have not walked into the city manager's office or anything like that. I'm waiting to get elected before I work for you. And then also, that's all I have to say on that matter, about the city manager and walking into her office.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Let me ask one more question. I'm going to jump to waste management. Your thoughts on the recent contract. Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's fair that we enter this contract the way it is, with two weeks of pickup and the new service provider that we established? What are your thoughts on the whole matter?
A lot of people wanted twice a week pickup. I speak to those same people now, and they're saying my rates was doubled. I was like, yeah, but you have twice a week pickup now. They seem pretty upset about it, even though they asked for it. And then I have some people that said, I could have just ordered extra garbage cans. I understand that too. I feel residents, you're paying less than double for a twice a week pickup. You got an okay deal. The people who really got screwed here was commercial businesses. They're paying over 200% increase in their garbage now for twice a week pickup. So what Republic Services did is they basically just moved sand around. They promoted to save the residents a little money, but then they moved all the profit over to the commercial businesses.
Okay.
And the city manager should have seen that. I feel we could have negotiated a better deal and possibly even retained waste management.
All right. I'm going to go back to you guys' line of questioning in a second. Just give me a second to get caught up, okay? So have them coming slow. We have an hour, so don't worry. They will get answered. But I want to ask you something that I haven't not really asked a lot of candidates. The youths of today, we are told the young people, is our future. and I'm not seeing a lot of candidates addressing our young people in Palm Bay. What do you have to say to young people? What would you, Filiberto, councilman, do for young people in Palm Bay?
Well, Palm Bay PAL is a big one for the young folks. I know council's talking about that now. I'd like to see get that started. Parks and Recreation is a big thing. I used to work in Parks and Recreation back in the day. It was one of my first jobs when I was in college. But for people like my age, 25, 26, say 20s to 30s, I want to see you guys start your own business. Let's bring some commercial businesses here to Palm Bay, and let's have you start them. And the way I want when you start the commercial business, I promise you, the city of Palm Bay will hire you in the RFP process. No more outsiders. Let's get your business going, and Palm Bay will support it.
Okay, so let me be more specific. When I say young people, I mean, or high schoolers or elementary school kids. I mean,
Yes, sir.
what are they doing on the weekends in Palm Bay? What does the future look like for them if you're sitting on the dais? How will you make sure that they have somewhere to go?
When I was a youth in Palm Bay, I played basketball on the weekends. Same with baseball. I was huge in the Parks and Recreation program, as well as Palm Bay PAL and Melbourne PAL. That consumed a lot of my time. That and the Indian River Lagoon. After playing sports, doing my sporting events within Palm Bay, I'd go fish in the lagoon. The Marine Resources Council has some camps and everything like that they have over the summer, which youth can attend. I believe there's a lot to do here for the youth. I grew up here, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Okay.
It was a great place to grow.
I think a lot of young people that I talk to will disagree with you. They say it's boring, Palm Bay. They have other adjectives that they describe that as. So
tell them to get out of their house and stop playing the video games.
Okay, I hear you, sir. All right, I'm going to scroll back up here and try to take some questions. Let's see. Mr. Burns, I think we answered that one. Carmen's question was more of a comment. Let's see, is up for review, and there are provisions that you need to do to amendment or delete the entire. I'm not sure what's opining on there. There's a question in this one. The current state rep blames city council for sewage leaks. Do you concur with that assessment and his bill of increasing fines on the city? What would be your idea to fund the needed repairs?
Great question here. I'm not going to touch too much on Randy Fine's what Randy Fine did, but my idea for improving the sewer for the city right now, a lot of residential areas and residents in general are on septic. I will never ever consider a special assessment for sewer or even do a forced hookup. However, what I would like to see is if sewer is available in the area and you plan to do a remodel on your house or an addition or add a mother-in-law suite, that you hook up to sewer. It's good for the lagoon. It increases property value. There's many benefits to it. And then you don't have to worry about septic systems anymore. Antiquated septic systems.
Okay. All right. Let's take this one from Ms. Wickens. Mr. Wickens, I feel this is a very fair question at this point, but based on the evasive answers given so far, have you received any campaign donations from either of the indicted RICO suspects in Palm Bay City Hall corruption investigation or from any of their PACs? And please don't answer with public records or yes or no will do. Okay?
Okay. No.
All right. Very good. Let's see. All right, this is, I think this is coming from Mr. Chancellor. Hopefully this comment clarifies things. We cannot continue in the long run to provide ongoing pensions at their current rates without incurring more debt. We cannot provide increasing infrastructure needs without issuing bonds. How do you address these issues to make it sustainable to the citizens or not having to incur future debts? That is my question. Sorry if it was confusing.
I'm still not getting the pension thing here. Are you talking with city pensions, police pensions? I don't want to. The police pension is great. It helps us retain quality officers. I don't want to touch the police pension. I'm trying to read the second part of the question, so excuse me for a second.
Okay. Do you want me to read it for you? You got it.
I'm looking right now.
Okay.
For the infrastructure needs, my infrastructure plan for the portal on the city website will help alleviate some of those spendings and costs that the city incurs due to infrastructure. And is there a third part of the question, Kevin? I'm sorry.
No, that was the question.
Okay.
I think you.
Mr. Chancellor, I hope I answered your question. If I did not,
if you will opine again, hopefully.
Even reach out to me. I'll be happy to answer your question. Give me a phone call. Reach out to me anytime.
Yeah, he answered yes. So I think you answered it for him. He said yes.
All right.
There it is. Okay.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Okay. Answer this one for us, because I do see this too as well. Your signs, sir. Your signs are appearing everywhere, and you know, is that you that's doing it, or is it your members of your team that's doing that? Because I mean, I'm in a community, and sometimes I write out on the weekends, and they're like right in the median. I'm going, whoa, what's going on here? So what's going on with your signs?
I have no knowledge of my signs being in the medians. If they were on the medians on the weekends, I didn't know about it. Could have been members of my team. But, you know, just moving on from that, I'm glad you guys are seeing my signs. I tried to be creative with them, and that's all I have to say about that.
Okay. Let's see. This is. Let me see if this is just a comment. I think this is. Sure, we can stop the wasteful spending, and anything can be accomplished if budgeted correctly. That's Mr. Carmine. Mr. Rainey is asking, but what's the plan to do that? I'm not sure what she's asking about there, as things are definitely we can't afford. Let's see. Here's a question. What will you do with paying limo companies having to pay for permits and Lyft and Uber what will we do? I'm not sure I answered that question. I understood that question.
Kevin, you have any more questions for me, sir?
I do.
You told me you had 30 questions for me.
Yes, sir. I want to make sure I give the audience a chance to ask questions too. This your program too as well. Okay.
Yes,
so let's go on to the lagoon.
Okay.
Your grandfather, that was Ted Moorhead?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So my research was good there. He was a champion of the Indian River Lagoon. The Ted Moorhead Lagoon House is named after him for his efforts in establishing an environmental learning center near the lagoon. Can you talk about the work that you have done to continue his legacy? That's the first part of my question.
Okay. I go to Marine Resource Council events. I support the Marine Resources Council. I hear what they have to say. I listen to them. That's why part of my plan with about the lagoon is promoting low impact development, pavers as an example, just ways to prevent wastewater from going directly into the lagoon, and having rainwater, wastewater filter through the ground first and recharge to aquifer instead of just draining into the lagoon. Just wanted to touch briefly on that. The development plays a part here. I am not anti-development by any means. If a developer wants to come in here and build 1,000 houses, I have no problem with that. But I do care about where those 1,000 houses are going to be built. I believe in core development. That's controlled, organized, and responsible development.
Okay. Can you talk about the work you have done with the Marine Resource Council in promoting the LIDs? Are they being used, and what impact they have on the IRLs?
Yeah, some cities are using them. Some developments here in Palm Bay are using them. Where I live, it's a low impact development. We have a dry swale, and when it rains, it fills up, and then about a day later, it's completely dry again. We have pavers around, and we have minimum wastewater going directly to the lagoon. And instead, it's recharging the aquifer below. I just using an example, if I had to give an example of an LID, it would be an area in Port Malabar, such as Sandy Pines or maybe Bayside Lakes. It's questionable, but I can consider Bayside Lakes as a low impact development with the way they treat their wastewater.
Really fast, I'm going to touch on this person's question about the Lyft and Uber, and I think I know where he's going with the question. Let me frame it for you. Several years ago, when the Lyft and Uber came out, right? And I think this is probably more of a county, so you can probably pass on the question if you don't want to answer it. It may be a county question. So several years ago, when Lyft and Uber came out, I know there was a situation where each county was pretty much stopping them from operating within their limits without permits. Do you remember that happening?
I do. I was in South Florida at the time. I remember in Broward County specifically, Lyft and Uber had a big fight with Broward County.
Right.
In regards to this.
Right. So that was a big fight, and it also, I believe, it also happened in Orlando too as well. So do you what's your view on that? Do you think they should have a permit to operate in our city limits?
I have mixed feelings on this. I do like that anybody, well, I don't want to say anybody because there is a background check involved, but I do like that an entrepreneur or someone who's down and out can apply for Lyft or apply for Uber and automatically start driving. But on the flip side, taxis require permits to drive around. So that's my argument there. Ultimately, I would like to see a permitted process just to make sure that the rides are safe and for the safety of the riders in general.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir. Here's another question from Mr. Burns before I go on to my next line of questions. Some municipalities and the state are trying to put restrictions on residents using their homes for Airbnb. Also for HOA restrictions, do you believe that this is government's role? So should we restrict Airbnb from operating within city limits?
I mean, the city has a lot of HOAs, and now we have a confirmed CDD. I don't believe that we should restrict Airbnbs. There is a lot of smaller cities that do, such as Indialantic. My old city down in South Florida did, and the way they restricted it was just a minimum 6-month rental. If you wanted to rent the house, you had to rent it for 6 months. I don't see that to be the case here in Palm Bay. Palm Bay seems to be handling the Airbnb business just fine.
Okay, great. Okay, this is a lengthy one. Let's see. I apologize for missing your introduction. What was it that you feel qualified you to be on the city council? I heard you say you haven't stepped foot into the city manager's offices, and when you elected, will you start working for us? Many other candidates have been working in positions to help without the title. Why do you need a title to help with your city? Kind of sounds like a lawyer. Payment. Okay.
Let's break this, Kevin. Excuse me. Let's break this question apart. Down. This is a good question, so I would like to answer it.
Okay, great.
So the first part of the question is apologize for missing the introduction. What is it that I feel qualified? Again, when I was young, other people were playing with Matchbox cars and Barbie dolls. I was sitting behind the dais with Mayor Filiberto. I have municipal government experience over 8 years, 4 of which were in law enforcement capacity, civilian, of course. After that, I have a degree in political science from Florida International University. I was born to run. I'm a legacy candidate. Currently, I'm a federal contractor for the federal government. My whole life has been about politics and government at all levels, from student council to federal. Next question, sir, if we can break that up.
Many other candidates have been working in positions to help without the title. Why do you need a title to help with your city?
Okay, just going with the many candidates thing. There is some candidates out there who have been involved in Palm Bay for 3 or 4 years, some of them for the past decade. I question where they were when all this corruption stuff was going on. Corruption being on quotes. There was misdeeds, there was misfortunes, and the candidates in my race and in other races were sitting right there with them. I'm not saying they're guilty, but they didn't prevent it. As for me, my family has been trusted. Agenda items change, character does not. My character is strong and true and confident. If something is wrong going on within the city, I plan to address it with the residents and with council.
Okay, great. Let's see. I don't know if you want to comment on that. I think this is just merely a comment. He says, kind of sounds like a lawyer. Pay my retainers first, then I will help. Again, I miss your intro, but maybe you are a lawyer, but many other candidates, and I don't know what he was saying the rest of that. I think that was more of a comment. Let's remove that from the screen, and let's bring up Ms. Vista Burns' question. Should ownerships in Palm Bay be a requirement for council members?
I'm a homeowner in Palm Bay. I feel it should be. If you want to represent your city, you should be living in your city. I know there's council members who rent. Maybe they have a plan to buy. But for me to be on city council, I plan to live here. I plan to die here. I'm a Palm Bayian, born, bred, educated here in Palm Bay.
Okay. All right. Off the cuff question for you. What do you think about legalizing marijuana?
I'm all for it. This isn't really a Palm Bay issue, but I'm all for it. As some of you know out there, my dad is a medical marijuana doctor. He has seen some remarkable turnarounds with terminally ill patients. Just to give you an example of one, a young kid, probably about 26, 27, came into my father's office with an inoperable brain tumor. The kid probably only had 6 or 7 months to live. He wanted to live the rest of his days out peacefully. My dad prescribed him marijuana. And what happened is the next checkup came around about 3 or 4 months later, and that tumor shrunk. So that story itself, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It really, I wasn't a fan of marijuana for a very long time, but after hearing stories like that and the medical uses for it, I am in favor of marijuana. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Let's see. Any other questions? All right. He's correct about marijuana, they say. All right. Let's keep it moving. Gun violence. I'm going to skip over some questions that I have for you. But gun violence, as a supporter of the Second Amendment, I'm correct, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. What are some of the ways that we can educate the public on gun safety so that we do not have a repeat of the death that occurred earlier this month?
Well, people need to lock up their firearms. In all honesty, I know some guns nowadays, some of them at least, come with a locking mechanism, an actual thing that's a chain locking key. I don't know if that was on or not, and the child was able to obtain the key, but those measures need to be taken. That was an unfortunate example of someone who was not able to safely guard and safely store their firearm. And that was very unfortunate.
Okay, yeah, that was a very unfortunate incident that occurred. Let's see. Police accountability. Mr. Filiberto, let me ask you some questions on police accountability. Thinking about your commitment to transparency, will you encourage accountability with the police department? If you were in an office right now, how would you address situation in the Brevard County Fraternal Order Police inviting discipline and jail cops to apply for jobs in Brevard? You heard about that recent incident?
Yeah, I believe this is a county incident. When it comes to Palm Bay Police Department, I haven't heard of any incidents with Palm Bay Police Department, and they are held accountable. I spoke to Chief Moy about this. Usually, one strike, they'll kind of be a slap on the wrist. But if there's multiple occurrences, that officer is out, and a new high quality, freshly educated recruit is brought in.
Okay, off the cuff question, and
Sure.
do you believe that all lives matter, Black Lives Matter? What is your stance on that?
Again, that's a national issue. I don't see that as a Palm Bay issue. I'm not avoiding the question. I'm a firm believer in Jesus Christ. I'm religious. I'll just keep it at that, if that's okay, sir.
Okay. I will respect your answer.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
All right. How do you feel about Wayne Ivey being sued by Florida today? I'm not sure that. Do you want to ask
that's a little bit out of my scope and out of my realm.
Yeah, I kind of figure you want to pass on that. Let's see. That was somebody saying they like the mask question. Okay. Somebody says definitely a Palm Bay question. Okay. Let me ask you this: mask or no mask?
I think it's. This is a good question too. With today's times, businesses should dictate that. I myself, I'm not high risk. I'm not elderly. Those people should be wearing masks, absolutely. And if a business asks me to wear a mask, I saw that Walmart's going to require masks on Monday, starting next Monday. By all means, I'll have to go. If I want to go to Walmart, I'll have to wear a mask. Right? That's their decision. And if I choose to go to Walmart, I will wear a mask. I'm not going to be one to go against the grain on that. But for wearing a mask all the time, I'm not high risk. Like I said, I'm not high risk and I'm not elderly. So I don't wear a mask all the time, unless a business or an individual requests that I do so.
All right. I'm going to go back to public safety really fast. Let me see, make sure I'm not missing the question on here. Mr. Kobichak, I'm going to take this one. Do you think that Palm Bay police should ban the use of neck restraints for any reason?
Palm Bay PD does not have any neck restraints in their SOPs. They don't have a takedown method of using a neck restraint. Chief Moya spoke on the subject numerous times. Neck restraints are a no-go policy for the city of Palm Bay, according to the chief and according to their SOPs.
All right. Next question. How would you bring people together in these days of division? Unity. How would you unite us?
Yeah. Right now, I'm just trying to unite the city with residents. This is a national question, but just talking about on a local aspect. Like what's happening right now in city council is that residents aren't being heard, and Palm Bay businesses are not being favored in the RFP process.
So wait. You think this is a national question?
Yes, sir.
Unity
for uniting people.
Yes, sir.
Yes. This is a national question, but I do want to talk about it in the sense of Palm Bay.
Okay.
How do you unite people in Palm Bay?
Okay. Tell me, how would you unite people in Palm Bay?
And my job to unite people in Palm Bay.
Right.
I want residents to be heard by the city and by city council, and I want local businesses to be preferred during the RFP process. That will bring unity and trust and unite all of us within Palm Bay.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure you weren't phrasing it as a national question per se, because I think it's a Palm Bay question. I
answered it in a Palm Bay way.
In a Palm Bay way, yes.
In a Palm Bay sense. Yes, sir.
All right. Let's see. All right. Audience, spare me a moment here. We're getting close to the end of the interview, and I do need to give him 3 questions on public safety and security. I need to touch on that topic really fast. And you're a supporter of the police department, as you obviously stated several times tonight, and committed to building out the police force and maintaining retention. You have expressed an interest in speaking with Chief of Police Nelson Moya about losing some of the policies that factor in police officers leaving Palm Bay. What policies are you referring to? How would you like them to be revised? And you mentioned promotion salaries as being not a part of the rest of the county or the country for police officers. What suggestions do you have to revising or promotion and salary structure for Palm Bay?
All right. Starting off with the first part of your question.
Yes, sir.
So what's happening is what's known as compression. Palm Bay the city of Palm Bay Police Department is somewhat on par with the rest of the county when it comes to starting salary. But what's happening is that they go through a step program, and each step is an increase in salary. And it's like step 2, step 3, and step 4 are not enough when it comes to step 2, step 3, step 4 within the city of Melbourne or in Brevard County Sheriff's Office. So what's happening is that once the officer reaches step 2, they're already looking to leave. And they're looking to leave because the pay is not that much. And then say they reach step 2, and then Palm Bay decided to give the starting salary a raise. Now the starting salary just matched up with step 2. So you're seeing 2 or 3 year officers there that are making the same as starting officers. It's not in all cases, but there's a few cases out there that are like that. So what's happening is the officer will go to the chief or to the union and say, hey, I want to negotiate a salary raise or what have you. And sometimes the union will give in to this salary raise, and the officer leaves anyway. So this is the reason why the officer leaves. The Palm Bay Police Department has a lot of rules, and when it comes to hair length, when it comes to beards, when it comes to tattoos, tattoos must be covered, hair must not touch the collar, beards. I'm not exactly sure of their beard policy, but most likely they're not allowed. Where other police departments and other agencies are a little bit more lax on those rules. If Melbourne, you'll see officers with tattoos and officers with a little bit longer hair, and that will just a little thing like that will make an officer leave the Palm Bay Police Department, which is astonishing to me. But if they want a better place to work, if they feel more comfortable that way, I understand that. What was the other part of the question, sir?
Let's see. I think you touched on everything. I'm going to jump ahead, though. I'm going to jump ahead because we're getting close to the end. I need to ask you, we're going to go back to the pension issue. Do you mind?
By all means.
Yes. Okay. What is your understanding of the current police and fire pension cost for the city? First question. Second question, do you think the city needs to spend more or less on pensions?
This is one of those things that I agree that is like a charter. You do not touch this pension. This is one of the best pensions in the state when it comes to police officers. I've suggested, and I almost had my head chewed off, I've suggested that the FRP, the Florida Retired Police Fund, I believe it's called, it's a statewide pension system, which a lot of agencies are on. However, our current pension system is better than the state pension system. And I don't want to touch that. I want to retain quality officers. And if you start messing with their pensions, out the door they go.
Okay. All right. The last question is going to come from Miss Tony Morris. He says he's disconnected based on his, well, no, that's not it. Let's go to this one. Are you for criminal background checks and drug testing on all council member candidates? What do you think about that?
I mean, I think residents do a pretty good job on the criminal background checks and drug testing. I believe it is a city policy. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I've never really heard of it to be an issue.
Okay. All right. Mr. Filiberto, I thank you for joining me tonight. And it was a fun interview, and I hope it was fun for you too as well.
It was, sir. Thank you very much, Kevin.
All right.
I support what you're doing here, sir. I came out here for you.
Thank you, and thank you for joining me. And so what I'm going to do, Mr. Filiberto, I'm going to remove myself from the screen, and I want you to deliver a message to Palm Bay and tell them exactly why you believe they should vote for you. Give them that go to the poll speech. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I was born and raised here. I have no affiliation with Palm Bay besides resident of Palm Bay. Other candidates that are in multiple races have been part of the Planning and Zoning Board, Crisis Intervention Team. Some of them have been employed for the city. They were there during, say, the past decade. I was not. I'm relatively back in town in the past 3 or 4 years, and I've seen what's been happening at Palm Bay, and I'm not happy with it. That's why I put my name on the ballot. And Filiberto's name is reputable, it's trustworthy, and I'm going to do good things for the city. Please elect me on this coming primary, August 18th.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. And folks, do not drop off. I'm going to end this feed, but I'm going to start it right back up with Mr. Allen. He's going to be joining me for round 2 tonight, and he's going to be interviewing for the mayoral race. So that will pick up right away. Just watch out for the live to go. I'm going to go live really fast. I just want to end this one so that way we keep the 2 videos separate so that it doesn't become lengthy. So just please stick around for the next interview that's going to be starting here momentarily. So I'm going to end this one for tonight, and thank you for joining me. And if you have to go to bed, I understand. But do feel free to go get some coffee and join me for the second half. All right, Mr. Filiberto, see you next week. Oh, yes, guys, he's going to be joining me next week for the debates. And I have a great debate team lined up, a moderated. I'm not going to be asking the questions next week. Next week, Thursday, is going to be a line of folks, and I'm going to be announcing them here tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, you join me for the interview with Mr. Michael Bross, and I will tell you exactly who's going to join me for the moderation of the debates. I'll tell you the names and everything, background information, whatever you need to know. Tomorrow night, this is a good team of folks that's going to be joining me, and you're going to love it. I selected a pool of folks across the Palm Bay that gives you a good mixture of questions, okay? So you're going to love it, all right? So I've been working behind the scenes for you, and I hope you're going to appreciate it, what I did. All right, so see you tomorrow night for that. But please stick around for Mr. Allen's interview. That will be starting shortly on another feed. So just look for the live button to go live. Thank you, Mr. Filiberto, again. Have a
Thank you, Kevin.
All right, bye-bye.
Have a good night.